Hello, friends. Welcome and namaste. Crystal Joy Johnson of CJoyYoga, in case you don't know that yet. Find yourself in your upright posture. I talk a lot about how the spine moves in 6 directions, but in all actuality, I believe it moves in 7. It twists to the right, twists to the left, side bends to the right, side bends to the left. The spine moves backward and forward, right? We also have this amazing ability to elongate our spine. So let your buttocks bones root down and then just slowly move from the tailbone to the sacrum to the L5, that's your lowest vertebrae in your low back, your lumbar, and let every vertebrae pick up off of the one beneath it. And that doesn't have to be done in a second. Take your time. And I'm going to bring in this concept. Try that again. I'm going to bring in this concept of Sthira-Sukham Asanam, Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. For anyone who knows, if you don't, it's okay. Those Sanskrit words translate to steadiness and ease. The postural practice, asana, has steadiness and ease. And I'm bringing that up here because the same is true here. We want steadiness. We want a strong back. We don't want to be a puddle on the floor and be all ease and all comfort, right? But we also don't want to be all erect and rigid. So try to find that elongated spine, steadiness, sthira, but also the comfort, right? Find a balance between the two. And this is where I often, instead of talking about it that way, right, I'll bring you in and I'll say soften the muscles of the face and the shoulders and the jaw and the belly. And so tune in. I'm just talking about it a different way. And once you have softened, found ease in that which you don't need to be contracted here, right? Tune into the breath and use that same concept with the breath. Steadiness. Try to find a rhythm. If you're doing a fast rhythm, that's shallow and up in the chest, that's going to move you towards your stress response. If you slow that breath down, smooth it out, and allow the belly to move with the breath, relaxation response. So I want to be very clear, this is part of the yoga practice. For those who don't care to sit in the beginning and want to just start moving, I encourage you to try to sit with this. So steadiness and ease, even in the breath. And go ahead and open the eyes and we'll start to move. And if you couldn't tell, my friends who don't know me, I kind of take a thread and I weave it through the whole class. That's going to be our thread today. Really trying to pay attention to if we've got the balance between steadiness and ease. And we'll do some of our regular postures. So we're going to come into child's pose. Put those blocks at the top of your mat. Here in the United States of America, it's been a little stressful with politics lately, right? So trying to find a sense of ease with that. But then, it's also winter and it's cold here, and a lot of us want to move and be able to get a little bit of movement, exercise, whatever you want to call it, in our bodies. So I've been playing with what is that balance, and I will try my darndest to give you some strength, right? Some steadiness, but also let's look for that comfort, that ease, sukha. So your hands can be in any position you want, your arms. I have my head boosted up just for vocal quality a little bit. And then maybe let your hips gently sway right center, left center. I guess I will put out there, if anyone has sensitive knees, this first part is not, we're going to be on our knees for a little bit. So this might not be the sequence for you. Come on back to center, start to stretch your arms out in front of you, and start to bring some of that steadiness in, right? Pushing down and forward, the forearms lift up. We're holding that. The arms are working quite a bit, actually, right? And now come into that breath. Is there any place that you can, here's a question that I love. Can you make yourself 10% more comfortable while keeping the work, right? And we're going to walk over to the right. So I like to lift my head and kind of lift my body up just a touch, and then come back into extended child's pose. We're just off to the side, extended child's pose. Pushing down and forward, my forearms are lifting up, upper arms rotating, and all the usuals. But if that left hip, move forward with the hands, moving to the right, sink that left hip down and back, and then breathe wherever you're feeling this on your left side body. This one shifts for me. It's often down kind of by my sideways low back. Today it is all in my armpit, backside of my armpit. Come on back through center. I don't know why, and that's okay. It's observation, right? We're bringing our observational skills and non-judgmental. Pushing those hands, we're on the left, right side of our mat ish. Pushing down and forward, forearms lift up, so the arms are incredibly active. But I'm looking for that sense of ease to find balance while I'm here. A lot of us, the right hip lifts, so let that right hip move down and back. And where do you feel it on this side? Might be very different than the other. It is for me. Come on back to center. Come on up to hands and knees. Curl your right toes under and let your right leg extend behind you. Toes are on the earth. We're not bearing the weight. And just rock back and forth a couple of times. Pardon me, I have a little bit of congestion this morning. And as that heel kicks back, hopefully we start to open up the back of the knee, the calf muscle, and bring that down. Just that this first round. Curl the left toes under, straighten the legs, same thing. I'm going to physically move my torso forward and back. And just rock. Notice what you notice from side to side. And then put that leg down. Now starting to add a little bit of strength, right? Actually, we're going to do cat-cow first. I changed my mind, sorry. Inhale, shoulder blades down the back, chest forward. Sorry, not sorry. Exhale, pull your belly up and around your spine. Inhale and reach that chest forward. Notice how slow I'm trying to bring us. Exhale. That way the breath works with that central nervous system, moving us, keep going, towards activating our parasympathetic system. Rest and digest is the nickname, and I call it the relaxation response a lot. Because saying parasympathetic a lot and then everything after that, that's a lot. And then come on up one more time. We'll meet by coming into the center with our elongated spine. Wag your tail to the right, look over your right shoulder, back to center, and then you'll do the same to the left. And just move back and forth a couple of times, a few times, I guess. Oh, beautiful body, beautiful spinal column. How are you today? I'm paying attention to you. I'm loving you. Come back to center. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to move into one little upper body, right? So walk your hands about halfway forward, right? So my wrists are a good deal in front of my shoulders. And then I'm going to start to push forward and down. And I'm coming towards that child's pose we were just doing, but my hips are a little higher. Move your hands further forward if you need that, right? And now I'm bearing a little more of the weight. Now I want to add a little bit of abdominal work into this. So now push your shins and the tops of your feet down. Tops of the feet cramp, put a blanket roll under your ankles, right? Tone your belly up to your spine, not hardcore or anything, just a little toning. Breathing there. Make your way back to child's pose. Bring your hands back, knees wide. One of those mornings, I guess. Breathe. Breathing. Okay. Come back up to hands and knees. If you need to ground on forearms because your wrists are sensitive, that's okay. Walk your hands a little forward so you don't have as hard of an angle. Curl your right toes under. Lengthen your spine. So here's that elongated spine again. And just remember opposition. My right heel back, my chest forward. Now push your left shin down, hug that outer left hip in, tone the belly and the pelvic floor, and then lift the right leg to hip height. Here's what I think is the advantage of moving that frickin' slow, right? Sometimes it's kind of painful and you're like, I just want to pop it up there. Maybe that left arm reaches forward. You can keep fingertips on the ground. Maybe the arm lifts up, bicep next to ear, right? Don't let the ribs move. Don't let the right hip move. Hug the outer left hip and left shin still pushing down and bring that down. So looking for that steadiness, but also, a little bit of ease. Curl the left toes under. And before you lift that leg, bear with me. It's worth it. We turn on all these small muscles that usually don't get turned on, the stabilizers, right? And we need those desperately. Push the right shin down. Well, first let's get length. Heel back, chest forward. Find your spinal length, your spinal elongation. Push your right shin and top of the foot down. Tone belly, pelvic floor. Now try not to let anything move. Hug outer right hip in as left heel lifts to the height of the hip. The hip hopefully doesn't lift at all. If I put a block on your sacrum, it wouldn't fall off. Maybe you just simply the right hand where it is. Maybe you reach a little forward. And again, bear with me for a second. Go slow. Hug the rotator cuff and then lift the arm up, bicep next to ear. And hopefully when you did that, nothing changed in the rest of the body. It just happened at the arm joint. She says that she almost falls over. Bring that down. Now come up onto your knees. If you're like, oh, my knees are getting sore, put a blanket on them. If they're still getting sore, again, this might not be the sequence for you. And that's okay. Step the right foot out. Easier on the hip to turn the toes away from you. More challenging to turn towards you. Neutral rotation, right? You can do either. Take that right hand into what I call bottom of the brief. So it's not up on my hip. It's at the bottom of my pelvis, right? And I'm going to go ahead and, pardon me, I'm going to move that hip in a little bit to try to get my left knee under my left hip, right? We tend to kind of be in this position with the pelvis. And then reach that left arm up, push the left shin down, the top of the foot, lengthen up, elongation first, and then bring it into that side bend. If you want to slide your right hand down, you can. If it's feeling really useful to have it in the hip, today I could use a little extra help helping that hip stay steady. Now get steady, right? And then for the sukha, the ease part, the question I'm loving these days, how can you make yourself 10% more comfortable? Within reason. It doesn't mean I'm coming out of the pose, right? It means while I'm holding the pose. How do I find a sense of comfort? Inhale, come all the way up. Bring that right knee down. Pause. Probably difference from side to side. I feel this a lot and I feel this a lot. Go ahead and step that left foot out. Again, any knee issues, hip issues, you could turn the toes away from you. You could challenge the hip a little bit by turning the toes forward. When I do that, my hips go pew, right? So I'm going to put my hand way low, way underneath my hip point, and I'm going to push. Again, most of us, even if we don't know where, even if we don't wear bikini briefs, we know where the bottom of those would be. Kind of grandma panties or tighty whities. Down there, push a little over to the right till you feel that right hip line up over the knee. Hello opening in the left hip. Reach that right arm up. Before you go over to the side, get long. Push the chin down, elongate, find the belly. And then, without losing that, without losing the length of the spine, without losing the toning of the abdomen, low back protection, come on in. You can reach those left fingertips down. Again, today I'm finding what I believe would be more beneficial for my body is to leave that hand in the hip today. I'm not forcing it. I'm trying to find steady by really rooting down and grounding myself, right? But I'm also trying to find a sense of ease. How can you make yourself 10% more comfortable? Maybe there's some emotional or mental baggage you can let go of. Go all the way. There always is for me. Bring that down. Whew. So we're going to add a piece of strength. That definitely has a strength element. Grab your block. I said put them at the top of your mat, but I was a liar. Bring it out on your left side. Step your right foot out, toes all the way out or forward, your choice. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to come down onto that block. If you really want to be on the ground, you can, right? But there's a lot of benefit to the hip here with my hand up a little bit. So now I'm going to flex my right foot. My inner edge of my foot is down, but my pinky toes are pulling back to my outer hip, right? I'm going to reach either hand on the hip is an option or the right fingertips reach up. Now get spinal elongation. As that right heel pushes away from you, reach the crown of the head in the opposite direction. Tone your pelvic floor, tone your corset, right? That might be plenty. You might just stay right here. Slide that left shoulder out of the ear. Maybe the right foot lifts an inch or two. Don't go high with it. Get longer and just bear that weight. So steady. Push that left shin down, the top of the foot. Find the pelvic floor, the low belly. And where's your sense of ease? Your jaw doesn't need to be clenched. Your shoulders don't need to be up in your ear. And then there might be other things you notice. This is just one way. I say these things all the time. I just don't always say fancy Sanskrit concepts of Sthira and Sukha Asanam. And then we're going to try to come all the way up. You can round forward and bring it down, or bring it up. Whew. So lots of stillness today. That's intentional. If it's not a beneficial tool, but I meet very few people, very few of us who couldn't use a little more stillness in their life. Reach that left leg out. Bring that right hand down, right? And then from there, before you lift anything, we automatically go into the lifting. Find your stabilizing muscles. Left hand on the hip or fingertips reach up. Shoulders away from the ear, right? Shoulder blades on the back. Now, before you lift, even still, elongate. Push the heel, the left. Reach the crown of the head to the right side of your mat. And then from there, low belly, pelvic floor. Maybe that leg lifts just a little bit. And I'd love you to keep it low, just a little bit, hovering above the floor. But really keep that heel pushing away. Pull the pinky back to the outer hip. Push the right shin down. Find the pelvic floor. Push into that right hand. Reach up through the left. Reach through the crown of the head. So I'm active. I'm finding steady in order to be here. Where can you soften? Ready to come up? Remember, you can round forward and bring the knee down, or you can up. Okay, let's go ahead and let our legs come out in front of us. So again, I'm trying to sneak a little bit of strength in, but I'm really trying to give us calm for those of us who've had a lot of stress in our lives lately. I'm going to sit on some height when I go into my wide-legged. my socks aren't near, I would put them in because it's chilly and I'm not doing a lot of activity anymore. Need my stick 'em out. So with wide-legged, get nice and tall, right? My friends who are uber flexible, remember, don't hang in your joints. My friends who are in tighter bodies, remember to bring the pelvis with you, right? So right now, everybody on the pelvis, try to find neutral. Don't let it roll back like it wants to. Try to get your feet active, toes pointing up, and those thighs grounding down. We're going to start to move forward. Again, my tighter bodied friends, let the pelvis move with you. My mobile friends, you're going to tone the belly back. You don't go as low, but don't think of it as not as going deeply into the pose. Think of it as not overstretching your ligaments and your tendons and all your other things, right? We have a tendency to hang in our joints, and that's not awesome on joints after years and decades of that pattern. So you might get your forearms down to the ground. I'm feeling a little tighter there in that way today, so I'm going to put blocks under and bring the floor up to my forearms. As you push out through your inner heels, pull your pinky toe edge back to your outer hips. Toes still pointing up, by the way. Thighs still pressing down. Pelvic floor gently engaged. A little bit of low belly, particular for my flexible friends. But I don't need to be tense in my spine. If you're protecting it and you need to keep it long, you do you. But for most of us, we can gently soften the spine here. And then we're going to come up a little bit and walk over towards that left leg. Keep that right buttocks moving down as much as possible and fold in. I'm going to push a little into my left hand, that's the one on the outside of my left leg, and turn my belly a little bit, not my head, my belly towards that left thigh. And come up a little bit. Walk over till you're framing your right leg, right? And then before you fold too far in, push into that outer right hand and turn the belly button a little bit. And then soften in, letting that left buttock sink back down if it came up. And that's almost everybody I've ever seen do this pose, including me. Morning. Inhale. And maybe you're not doing this in the morning, but still, good morning, body. I'm paying attention to you. I'm loving you. Wake up. Coming up. Grab your inner knees, bring the soles of your feet together. Grab ankles if you can get them. You could go against shins, knees. Pull against the ankles, and again, the pelvis wants to go behind you. That's human, right? That's human anatomy. So if I pull against my whatever I got, I'm gonna let that spine get nice and long. Elongation, buttocks, bones down, crown of the head up. I'm going to move my head because I'm realizing my neck could use a little stretch here. Feel free, if ever. I don't have to teach it. If you're like, ooh, it would feel really good, like add those things in, my loves. Pelvis goes with you. If it doesn't, don't go forward, right? Low belly pulls back for my more flexible friends for a little support. My low back sensitive friends, right? Anyone in those realms? Maybe you sway your head or your shoulders a little right center, left center. Feel free to add a little movement in for that upper back or low back. And then inhale, come all the way up. Grab the knees, bring them up. When we come down for our final rest, have your blocks on standby. Roll down. We're almost there, by the way. And then we're going to do a quick windshield wiper twist. That's feet wide as the mat. Let your knees go right center, left center. Arms can tee out, head can turn opposite direction, any of the things. Hello, discs between the vertebrae in my spine. May you get a little plumper from this move. Come back to center. Walk your feet into each other. So the feet touch, the knees move out into, some people call it butterfly or cobbler. Baddha Konasana is the translation from the Sanskrit, right? And then let your legs go to wherever they go to. And by the way, mine are uneven always. My right hip is a lot tighter in this round. So when I prop them, I prop my left leg up so it's the same height as my right. And go a little above where you just were. I don't want the legs to be in a maximum stretch. We're talking to the nervous system now. If the legs are hanging, chances are great you don't have, the body will put these little googly cells that inhibit the lengthening because they're nervous about it getting overstretched, right? But if we put the blocks in, then maybe we can talk the mind into releasing those googly cells out of the thighs, and the thighs can relax 100%. I don't always think with these muscles, it's like we got to stretch them, we got to stretch them. I think we need to learn how to release the tension that is stored in there so much from us being stressed out. Let's take about 3 more breaths here. As always, it's just a suggestion, an invitation. If it doesn't feel right to you, do what feels the most beneficial at this moment in time. I know I say that stuff all the time, but I found in my personal practice, I needed it repeated over and over, and I needed someone to give me permission. I didn't know how to do that for myself for a long time. I give you permission to be gentle with yourself. Hands on outer thighs. Let's push the legs up. Let's hug the knees in for a moment. Let the low back round. The tailbone can get kind of light. Roll over to one of your sides. Often we'll hear right, and there is a reason for that, but it's not enough of a reason, I don't think, that we have to go to one side over the other. If, say, we have a sensitivity or a shoulder that's cramped, or take care of yourself. Hands together in front of the heart. And as we bow the head down, let's take the thumbs up to the third eye center between the eyes and just put a little pressure there. Right? And then bring the thumbs down and tap them into the heart for a moment. And may our mind and our heart always work together. Namaste, friends. And I say it a lot, and it's just invitation. Don't let it trigger you. But when I say may all beings be well, may all beings be well, no exceptions. You know how I say that all the time? Right now is when we need to practice that, right? You don't have to start with the biggest one on your list, but maybe there's just someone who you don't agree with them politically. Maybe they voted for someone you didn't. Maybe we start to practice compassion for these people, because we're all in this together. And if we just us and them, we ain't getting nowhere. I love your business.